NBA insider Shams Charania has just dropped an absolute bombshell trade report as it pertains to the Phoenix Suns, Kevin Durant, and also the New York Knicks. And this is absolutely crazy, as there are a lot of moving parts involved in this, with Kevin Durant's camp having a huge say as well. And we're going to break all of this down. We have an absolutely crazy report, multiple crazy reports to break down to you guys. What's up? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here, and we're going to jump right into things as always. And guys, if you are part of that 64% that's not subscribed to Knicks Digest, make sure to hit the subscribe button. This is the place to be for all Knicks content you guys don't want to miss out. All that being said, let's jump into the video. We have a lot to discuss on the New York Knicks, as Kevin Durant he's been a big name in trade talks for the past couple months now, and now things have hit a breaking point, as Shams Charania revealed that Kevin Durant and the Phoenix Suns are expected to work out a trade this summer out of Phoenix, and KD has interest in the New York Knicks, Minnesota Timberwolves, Houston Rockets, San Antonio Spurs, and Miami Heat at this past trade deadline. Those were the 5 teams that he told Phoenix he would want to go to as the Kevin Durant to the Knicks rumors once again make their return. This has now been going on for a good 6 years that Kevin Durant has been rumored to be interested in the Knicks. Ever since he was leaving the Golden State Warriors, Durant was linked to the Knicks time and time again, and then it went away when he went to the Nets, and now things are back. They're back with a vengeance, as Kevin Durant now has openly put that he wants to join the New York Knicks, or they're one of his teams that he has severe interest in joining, along with the teams mentioned there, the Heat, the Rockets, the Spurs, the Timberwolves. So we're looking at a situation where the New York Knicks have now fully been linked to Kevin Durant as a team he wants to join. And many are going to say, well, the Knicks don't want Kevin Durant. That is absolutely untrue in every way. The Knicks are interested in Kevin Durant, and we will dive into that. But looking at who Kevin Durant is as a player, he's still great at 36 years old, hasn't lost a step yet, 26 points per game, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, blocking a shot per game, getting nearly a steal, shooting 43% from 3 and 53% from the field. He's been the best player on the Suns this season, shooting 50% on corner threes. He doesn't take a lot of them, but when he does, he's absolutely money from there. You know the New York Knicks love that stuff. KD has been one of the all-time great players in NBA history, and he is yet to slow down just as he hits that age 36 season. And the New York Knicks, they have been linked as a serious team. As Shams also mentioned, that the Knicks and Kevin Durant had serious mutual interest at February's trade deadline. So all this being said, this is not one-sided. The New York Knicks are interested in trading for Kevin Durant, and Kevin Durant is interested in being traded to the New York Knicks. After all those years, after everything that went down, all the rivalry, all the beef, everything that happened, Kevin Durant now wants to find his way in a New York Knicks jersey once and for all, and that is absolutely wild to me. Now, obviously, there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of things to discuss when looking at this, but with all this being said, it makes you think back to the days when Kevin Durant said something along the line of essentially just roasting the New York Knicks by saying, I think a lot of fans look at the Knicks as a brand and expect these younger players who in their lifetime don't remember the Knicks being good. The cool thing right now is not the Knicks. We all remember KD saying this and just wondering why he was still taking random shots at a team he didn't join just because the fans were upset that he didn't join them after teasing them into thinking he was going to. Now, KD did backtrack this statement, as Rich Kleinman, his manager and lifelong New York Knicks fan, said, do me a favor. Clear up everything from something you said 5 years ago about the Knicks not being cool. And Kevin Durant said, at the time they weren't. The Knicks weren't cool. But they are a cool brand. Like right now, man, the people they got right now, they're a cool brand. So he's saying that they've been playing really well. Kevin Durant has changed his tune a lot on the New York Knicks, and we've seen this now. We've seen a completely different version of Kevin Durant. He's no longer trying to play that villain role. He's no longer in that villain role. He's not having to embrace it because it doesn't exist anymore. We've moved past it in a lot of ways, and it's super interesting to see all of that happen. Now, Kevin Durant, when he plays in MSG, is absolutely unbelievable. For his career, he's played 11 games in Madison Square Garden. He's averaging 31 points per game, including in his rookie year, putting up a 30-point game as a member of the Seattle Supersonics. And ever since then, he never slowed down. 31.2 points per game On top of that, shooting great numbers at 51% from the field, 42% from three, which honestly is somewhat normal Kevin Durant stuff, while also getting 7 rebounds and 5 assists. KD has been great as someone playing on the MSG floor. He relishes in it. He loves it. And now he wants to do it 41 times a year, which is absolutely insane to think about. After just all this time, seeing all this go down, it is truly wild to think about. But that's where we are now. I mean, Leon Rose wants it to happen, and Kevin Durant seems interested as well. And this sort of fits in with a lot of what we've seen. The question really is the price of the trade, though. That's what we have to sit here and consider when looking at all this Kevin Durant stuff, is how much it's going to cost to bring Kevin Durant onto the New York Knicks. So, we will talk about that. And based off something that happened recently, you can take a look at what Shams said, saying, Miami really had an opportunity to try to get Kevin Durant at the trade deadline. They offered Jimmy Butler and Josh Richardson, but you have to up the ante a little bit, which is very, very interesting when considering the teams that he mentioned. I mean, the Spurs don't have a ton of assets to trade. They'd have to trade younger stuff for KD. You look at the Rockets, they do have the assets to make the move, and I think that's why the Houston Rockets likely could be the favorites for Kevin Durant as of right now. The Minnesota Timberwolves will be up there as well. The Timberwolves want Kevin Durant badly, and they're willing to part with Julius Randle to do it. However, Randle has a player option at the end of this season, one that he's expected to decline so he can get a bigger contract, which is going to make things a bit more complicated unless they're going to work out some sign and trade. On top of that, you look at the Knicks, and the Knicks, it's a bit difficult to comprehend how they would pull off this move. There's 2 trades that I came up with that work. Now, there's one where you trade Kevin Durant for OG Anunoby, Mitchell Robinson, and that Washington first-round pick. Now, I want to make something very clear right now. I'm not saying I do these trades. I'm saying these are what I would expect trades to look like, or at least trade packages to look like. First of all, I want to make it very clear, I would not do this trade. I think this is a bad trade for the Knicks in every sense of the word, to essentially forego defense by trading your 2 best defensive players, 2 guys who completely hold this team together in so many ways in OG and Mitch. I think this would be a terrible trade, and I don't want to see the Knicks do it. As for that, there's another trade that you could do, which is Karl-Anthony Towns and Pacome Dadier for Kevin Durant. This one, I would rather do than the first one, but I still don't want to do it. It's really, really pushing forwards with where you are right now as a team, closing your window a little bit. On top of that, paying Kevin Durant a lot of money for the next 2 years while he's 36 years old. It just feels like a bad idea, especially when Kevin Durant's only real success in the playoffs has come from when he was with that super packed Golden State Warriors. Yes, he made the NBA Finals in 2012, and that Thunder team was phenomenal, and they did great, and they weren't expected to make it, but Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Serge Ibaka, that whole team went out there and played amazing basketball. On top of that, you look at other years where he was good and doing well in the playoffs. The Nets year where the Nets lost in that overtime with the eventual champion Milwaukee Bucks. If the Nets were healthy that year, they probably would have won the NBA Finals. So they ended up not doing that. The Nets probably should have known putting 3 score-first guys who all have injury troubles together was probably going to lead to injuries. And that's exactly what happened. But what are you going to do? Where you look at with the New York Knicks right now, trading for Kevin Durant has been a mistake for every team that's acquired him. I mean, not the Nets. It wasn't really a mistake. It just didn't work out. The Phoenix Suns trading for Kevin Durant was a mistake. It didn't work out. They've set themselves back. And I don't see why the New York Knicks should do the same thing years later when KD's even older. That doesn't make sense to me at all. It just seems like a bad idea with a guy who's had a bunch of injuries thus far, is 36 years old. As good as he still is right now, I like where the Knicks are as a team right now, which makes it difficult for me to say, hey, let's go out and trade Kevin Durant for multiple key players trade for Kevin Durant for multiple key players of our roster. With OG Anunoby, there's 18 points per game, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. He's averaging 24 points per game since Jalen Brunson went down with the injury, getting 1.5 steals per game, getting a block per game. The man's playing awesome basketball, shooting 47% from the field and 36% from 3. Both of those numbers have been climbing on the season. The other option is trading Karl-Anthony Towns, who puts up 24 points and 13 rebounds with 3 assists per game, also shooting 52% from the field and 42% from 3. Meanwhile, if the Knicks traded Towns, they'd be very low on big men with just Mitchell Robinson there. It does not make sense to me for the Knicks to make these trades. However, it's very interesting to see the fact that Durant is very interested in the Knicks. However, at this point, you know what, man? He had his chance, and he didn't take it. I don't want him. I'd take him for free, but we're not getting him for free. So I don't want him. I don't want Kevin Durant on the Knicks anymore. I'm past it. I'm over it. I just don't need that anymore. None of us do. Knicks fans as a whole, we don't need Kevin Durant now. What the Knicks need to do is keep building this team the right way. build that bench. Your starting lineup's great. You just need to keep building that bench and continuing to get better until you have a deep roster. The same thing that the Boston Celtics did. You have a superstar in Jalen Brunson. You have another star in Karl-Anthony Towns, who's an all-star starter this year. OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges have looked great. Josh Hart is the best glue guy in basketball. On top of that, Deuce McBride's a great player off your bench. Landry Shamet's been good recently. The Knicks have Mitchell Robinson as well. They could just use one more scorer off that bench, and it feels like everything would fall into place for this team. That is not going to happen by trading multiple players for Kevin Durant. The Knicks have made multiple trades where they've traded more players than what they've gotten back, and now they're thin because of it. Let's not keep doing that. Let's not trade for Kevin Durant, sacrificing a ton of our defense or a young star who looks great for the Knicks. And if the Knicks want to trade Karl-Anthony Towns, there's better trades out there to move Karl-Anthony Towns for, but we don't have to even talk about that. He's not even one whole season through his time with the Knicks yet. So let's just see what the Knicks have right now. I like the way this team is shaping out. I think there's still more to go, and they're still going to get better as time goes on, and that would not happen if they traded for KD. So let this sleeping dog lie. Don't go back for Kevin Durant. Don't look back. Please do not look back, and I don't think Leon Rose is going to look back. Even if the Knicks have interest, it's them doing their due diligence and seeing if they can get KD for a cheap deal. They're not going to be able to pull that off, so there's no reason to do it. Let a team like the Rockets trade for him. I expect the Rockets to land him. I think they'd trade Jabari Smith Jr. and some salary filler to do so. On top of that, the Spurs would be tough for them to pull it off. The Minnesota Timberwolves could with Randall. The Miami Heat, I don't see why that would happen at this point. Now with the deadline being over, I think the Heat are out. So that just leaves a few teams there. And, well, frankly, I think it's going to be the Houston Rockets. But, guys, who do you think it's going to be? Would you want Kevin Durant still in the Knicks? Let me know all that in the comments down below, and I'll be sure to get back to you. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to subscribe, like this video, turn on post notifications. Have a great day, and go Knicks.